the A7R5 just dropped, and I have the lovely A7IV. And honestly, I ain't gonna lie to you, I just went to New York 3 weeks ago and I tested out the A7R5 for 24 hours and I freaking want it. I want it. But the question is, am I gonna sell my A7IV for it? I don't know. So let's talk about it. What up, y'all? Tight Shirt Terry Warfield back for another video. Hope you're having a great day so far. Hey, remember to be thankful for your life today because you did not have to have that. On with the meat and potatoes. The Sony A7R5 is freaking amazing, and so is the A7IV. I'm gonna mess these names up. I'm telling y'all right now. It's too many A7R5, 4s, XYZ going around. But before we get into some of the things I really love about the A7R5 that are making me consider selling the A7IV for it, a few things I need to say. Number one, I don't freaking script videos. So if I mess up, I just mess up. Number two, the A7R5 event, Sony did pay for me to come out there. They did not pay me, but they did handle accommodations and all that stuff. Shout out to Sony because the event was super dope. Had a great time in New York. Oh, I did a New York photo walk at night that was super clutch. Me and a couple of your favorite content creators watched that after this video. But anyways, they did not say we have to make any content. They get no input on this video. And as usual, I'm going to say where Sony does great, and I'm giving them buckets where I think they missed the mark. But shout out to Sony for bringing me out in such style. So A7R5, honestly, in my opinion, is like an A7IV on steroids. I'm not about to give you a whole review because I only had 24 hours with it, but I did draw some conclusions and things that I really liked and disliked right here on this document on my phone. I want to say this about the A7IV first. The A7IV honestly suits all of my needs. I love the A7IV, and it is my go-to camera when I need to just take a camera. And when people say I got $2,500 to spend on the camera, it is my recommendation every freaking time. However, is it perfect? No. There have been a lot of things about the A7IV that piss me off that I really wish would change, and the A7R5 fixes a lot of those things. So is it a necessity that I get the A7R5? No, it is literally me just being the camera snob that I am. So while I'm saying that, listen, there probably will be another video as I go along and try to figure out my camera trajectory because I'm a snob and I like new tech. And when new cameras come out that got the new tech that my cameras don't have, I get pissed off and I want it. And I got to do whatever it takes to get it. First world problems, I get it, but fully expect that there will be another video after this because right now I don't freaking know if I'm going to sell the A7IV for the A7R5. There's some things that I want to talk about with the A7R5. And the first thing is, yes, it's an A7IV body pretty much on steroids. It's the same freaking body. It still has the photo video switch, which I really like. That's one of my favorite things about the A7IV. I also love how you can retain the photo and video settings. So it's like if you're shooting video and you in S-Log, you can set it to where you switch the photo and your freaking photos are not in S-Log. So that's really good. Aside from that, it's pretty much the A7IV's body with exception to a few things. Number one, let's talk about the rear display. I have made it no secret with the A7IV that I cannot stand the rear display, and also I can't stand the EVF. Let's talk about the EVF first. I had a Sony A7S3, which I sold, right? I sold it for the FX3, but the EVF on that camera was fan-freaking-tastic. One of the best I ever used. So imagine going from the A7S3 to the A7IV that has an abysmal EVF in rear display, and it was like culture shock. So then going from an A7IV to going to test the A7R5, which has another fantastic EVF in there, yeah, I was like, man, I need that. I ain't even gonna lie. So it's the EVF that's amazing, but the rear display on the A7R5, number one, it's a 4-axis display, okay? So it does like cartwheels, yeah, it flips up and down, all of that crap. Honestly, I'm so happy that Sony brought back an articulating screen like this, a 4-axis when they used to have one. I don't know if y'all know, some of y'all might be babies and you might not remember it, but back when Sony used to sell the Sony A77, the Alpha 99, they had the multi-articulating freaking, you know, mechanism in it, but they were real thick. So seeing Sony come out with a much slimmer version of that same type of display, it's a little bit different. It's game changing, and I'm pissed because my A7IV don't have it, my FX3 don't have it. And hopefully what this means is that newer cameras will get this same flippy design. While we were talking about the rear display, it is much upgraded over something like the A7IV. It's higher resolution. It also supports P3 color gamut. So it's like the images just pop off the rear display. Also, they push the information to the edges of the display like the FX3, like the FX30, so you don't have information all over your freaking display where you're filming. And also it has the new quick tile menus in it, which make navigating it real easy. I don't know if you ever seen it or not, but the quick tile menus are freaking dope. Moving on on to the onboard mic. That was something I was really surprised with. The onboard mic on the A7 IV kind of sucks. And the onboard mic on the A7R5 doesn't suck. Here's a quick sample.
By the way, what you guys are listening is the internal audio also on the A7R5, just in case you wanted to hear what that sounds like.
Did you want to hear it? Well, you heard it. Now, that mic on that camera really reminds me of the one that's on the ZV-1. It sounds surprisingly good to be a built-in onboard mic. Should you be using the mic? Yes, but in the pinch, it really sounds good. I wish I still had that camera. I wish I didn't have to give it back to Sony. But anyways, so let's talk about 61 megapixels because this is a R camera. Now, it's not like the A7R4 was a bad photo camera. In fact, it was one of the best photo cameras ever made. 61 megapixels, tons of dynamic range. I just don't need it. I don't need 61 megapixels. 33 is more than enough for me. Now, you sports shooters are going to be pissed because the A7R5 is not a sports camera. If you need a camera that can still shoot 1,000 frames per second, it's not the camera for you. But resolution wise, dynamic range wise, the 61 megapixels, it is what it is. It's fantastic. It's a Sony sensor. The images look freaking outstanding. The other thing I really like about it is for people like me who don't need 61 megapixels, you can still go in there and choose all of your different levels of compression and file sizes, which is really clutch. So there's not really much more to say about the photography aspect of it. I got a few other things software wise that I'll tell you later on. 8K. Let's talk about that first. 8K to me is a complete gimmick. I don't need it. Maybe it's not a gimmick for some people. I mean, I know why Sony did it, because 8K is all the rage right now, but in practical use, it doesn't make sense. Number one, the file sizes. It's good that you can use a V60 card to shoot 8K. Some of this footage I'm putting on the screen for y'all was shot on a V60 at 400 megabits per second 10-bit, and that's crazy. But the problem with it is, unless you just need the extra resolution to recompose your shot in post, the rolling shutter is absolutely deplorable. I mean, it comes with processing, I get it, but I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it unless it was locked off on a tripod and there's literally nothing moving in the frame. So is it dope to have 8K? I don't know. It looks great, but I wouldn't practically use it. Plus, it comes with a 1.2 times crop, and active stabilization does not work in it. It can do RAW over HDMI, which is dope, but there is no 4K 120 like you get on like the A7S3, the FX3, which is fair. It's not a video camera. It's still a photography camera with a bunch of video features built into it, but it gets confusing because some modes are full pixel readout, and then you got some modes that have a crop, especially when you add on active stabilization crops on top of that. So, you know, it's a tricky camera because to really understand the level of crop you're getting, you almost need a freaking calculator and a chart to figure out, yo, if I use 4K 60 and I use active stabilization, which it does work, I'm going to get a total crop of 2.7, whatever the case may be. It is frustrating, but it is good to see them put more video focused features in the A7R5. The rolling shutter is horrible in 8K. In 4K 24, 4K 30, 4K 60, it is better controlled, but it is still there. So if you're looking for that camera that is not going to give you any rolling shutter, this ain't it. Now, while I'm on the subject, active stabilization in the A7R5 is freaking game changing. Listen, it's not a gimmick. It is really good. They say 8 stops of stabilization. I don't know if you really getting 8 stops. I can tell you it's damn good though. And if you put on a lens that has OSS built into it, it gets even better. We're slowly getting to that point where you don't need a gimbal anymore. For your normal handheld shots, I will say the stabilization is a lot better. Let's talk about autofocus next, and then I want to talk about some of the new AI stuff like face registration, because that's crazy. Number one, autofocus, okay? Autofocus in the A7R5 makes the A7 IV's autofocus feel like child's play. It is that freaking good. But the other thing is the new Canon EOS R6 Mark II, which I just made a video on, has a comparable autofocus system to the $4,000, this is not it, but the A7R5. And I'm about to bring that around full circle. So again, the A7R5's autofocus in conjunction with the new algorithmic artificial intelligence stuff is actually game changer, right? Now, I didn't get a whole lot of clips of everything, but my man Sydney has a few videos on his channel just showing off how the artificial intelligence really works, and it's pretty game changer. Like, there's a clip where Jenna is in the studio, right? And she got on a Halo Master Chief helmet. And even though the camera couldn't see her eyes, it was able to predict where her eyes would be at based off the fact that she got on a freaking helmet. So if somebody's walking away from you and they turn their back on you, the camera can predict based off of where their legs are, arms are, you know, where their face and their eyes should be, and it intelligently looks for that stuff. So it's not as gimmicky as you might think. It actually really works. Now, the reason I say I still think Canon's implementation is better, even though it is literally a game-changer autofocus system, is because when I was in New York, there was a boat going by through the river, right? And I'm like, oh man, I gotta switch the freaking mode so I could get vehicles. And I had to literally take time away from the shot, go through the menu, find vehicles, turn that on. Canon's implementation does it automatically, which I really wish Sony could figure out a way to do that. But nevertheless, being able to track insects, birds, cars, vehicles, people, it's next level. And it is very sticky. And although the A7IV's autofocus is damn good, you don't realize how much better it could be until you test out the A7R5. So that's another thing. Like, do I need the enhanced autofocus? I don't need it, but it would be great to freaking have it. Now, one thing for me that is like super game changer is face registration. And some of y'all gonna be like my man Brandon Washington was like, oh, other cameras do that. No, they don't. Not like this new version of whatever Sony's doing. So look, you can actually, I'm gonna put an example on the screen. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now.
Sydney, tell us about the autofocus.
So the AI autofocus is actually not a gimmick. So it tracks and recognizes your face, right? And so say that you're in a wide shot, there's like a ton of people in New York and you want to focus on just your face. Like say that Terry wants to make an intro for his YouTube video, he could walk all the way out there, there could be a ton of people and it'll focus on him as long as the camera sees him.
What's up, y'all? Tight shirt, Terry Warford. It'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it sees your face, right? And you can take multiple pictures of your face and that way it'll
We
really
need to demo
recognize
this
it,
right now.
It's cool. I'll show you. Yeah, it's really easy. All right, here we go.
8K, let's look at this.
So if you want to recognize the
8K,
face,
dude.
use go to the menu and go
Look
to
at
the
this.
MF tab, subject recognition,
Let's
and
get
then
Terry on there.
You know how
face
much data
memory.
that's
I'm going to
pushing,
click the
man.
add button, and now I'm going to take a picture of Terry.
It's gotta be perfect.
There we go. Ready? Terry, look over here. 1, 2, and 3. Register, and now your soul is in the camera. Wow. There you go. See?
All right, Lon, let's get everybody in the group and see if it focuses on Terry.
Okay, you ready?
So we got to demo this.
So Terry could be right in the middle, right?
Here, I'm gonna go on this side just because.
I'll do video because it'll be continuous autofocus, right? Okay, so Lee, go ahead, walk up towards the camera. See, it should focus on Lee, right?
Yeah.
But it's not.
What if
Yeah.
I block it right
Yeah,
off?
go ahead and block it. Still focus on Terry. Look at that.
Isn't that crazy?
Woo! That is magical.
It's nuts.
Canon, goodbye, Canon.
Okay, so you can also register several people in there, and this works in photo and video. So if you shooting a wedding and it's a specific segment of the wedding and you only want the bride to be the priority, then you tap on the bride's face. And then you program the mother's face in there and the father. When you go to the menu, you can see all of the faces that you took pictures of. You pick who's the priority, and the camera only looks for them. All the artificial intelligence stuff is game changing. It's got dual card slots, which is great. It's still got catalyst browse. I forgot to mention that. So even at 8K where it doesn't have active stabilization, it can still record the gyro data, which is great. You still got the base ISOs, the same as the A7IV of 800 and 2500, so that's not a big deal. Battery life was great. I was shooting 8K, 4K photos and all that stuff. The battery lasted me a full day, which was also great. I didn't experience any overheating. I don't get a lot of overheating with my A7IV, so that was freaking great. And with the A7R5, you got all the new tech. So you got the USB streaming built in. You got focus map, breathing compensation, all the freaking features that I can't get on my Sony FX3. Now you got them on the Sony A7R5. Sony, come on now, I'm gonna give y'all buckets. Y'all gotta stop playing this game. It's a dangerous game y'all playing. These expensive cameras that are not old cameras, we need you to update them or you are going to lose customers. Also, there's like focus stacking and what's the other thing? Pixel shift that's built into it to the new A7R5. So honestly, a lot of the features are not gonna be like super big things that I need. I really want the enhanced stabilization. I really want the better EVF, the better rear display, the better flippy screen. The enhanced resolution is nice. I really don't care about 8K. The video is a tad confusing, but for $4,000, it is so much freaking camera. The problem is the A7IV is already a lot of freaking camera, and I technically don't need to get the A7R5. I appreciate the camera though, because Sony is always using these new cameras to push the envelope, and the A7R5 pushes the envelope in so many ways that we should start seeing these things trickle down to other cameras. I wish we could get them in the cameras that we already got, but I digress. Either way, I'm telling y'all right now, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do it because it's not a necessity, but that doesn't mean in 2 weeks that my opinion won't change and I won't have one on order. So again, this is my tech saga. I might make another video saying that I changed my mind. And that's just how it is on this channel. I just take y'all along the journey with me. Again, shout out to Sony for bringing me out, pushing the envelope with the A7R5. But I think for now, I'm going to stick with the A7 IV, but that could change in 2 weeks or 2 days. Who knows? Anyways, I hope that you liked this video. You saw something about the A7R5 or A7 IV that stood out to you, helped you make a decision. Whatever the case may be, I'm losing my voice. I got errands to run. I'm out of here. Much love, y'all. Tight shirt, Terry Warfield. Piece of chicken grease. I'm out of here. Peace. Much love.